For this particular meditation, I like to use the Apostle Paul's second letter to the church of Corinth, 2 Corinthians verse 12, chapter 12, verses 7 through 10. I'll read it as expeditiously as I possibly can. And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distress for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. For this particular meditation, I want to talk about blessed by your thorn. Blessed by your thorn. Now you may be saying, preacher, how can I be blessed by my thorn? And first I would have to define your thorn. I wrote down on a couple things in a couple of areas that could possibly be your thorn. The Apostle Paul said that he took pride in verse 10 in infirmities. So a thorn can be in infirmities, in a reproach. It could be in a reproach, in necessity if you're deep in need, in persecution, and in distresses. Some other thorns are a limitation. Thorn can be a limitation. It can be a problem. It can be a shortcoming. It can be a hindrance. It could be a bad inclination, or it could be an undesired proclivity. Something that when you get up to what you think are the gates of success, and you've made your arrival on a particular plane, and here comes your old friend again. Most of our thorns get to be good friends for us. They're not strangers. There's an inclination, a thing that we have to grapple with. The writer in this particular text said he besought the Lord thrice to remove it from him, and he didn't. But Paul learned to see the blessing that his thorn was. In verse 7, he said, lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. Paul was able to see almost an open heaven, where revelation came to him so readily. What other men would ponder about, God just showed Paul openly. And that's when God shows you so much, and when God moves in your life, and I'm talking to you, my anointed brother, my anointed sister, that you can be so gifted in a particular area that you can start, drinking your own Kool-Aid or filling your own juice. But he said, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to buffet me or to beat me, lest I shall be exalted above measure. What Paul said, this particular thorn gave him balance. And you can be blessed by your thorn. That what has kept us from going over the deep end, what has kept us from going over the side of the bridge many times, is this thorn. This thorn makes us so much more dependent on God. That is, when we are so high on our own juice, our thorn gives us balance. I was thinking about a particular line from the song Be Grateful that was recorded by the Hawkins family years ago. It said, God hasn't promised me sunshine. It said that God can't afford to make me feel only good. It said a little rain helps me to appreciate the sunshine. And I'm telling you that you've been blessed by your thorns. Some of the dark times and the dismal moments in your life made you more dependent on God. That in some of your toughest places, and you may be living at that place right now, it's a place that lets you know that I need God. After Paul said that, he said, God said unto him, after he asked for the Lord to remove it, God told him, my grace is sufficient for thee. My charis, my unmerited favor is sufficient for thee. For God said, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. That word perfect means mature. That means that God's strength, or God's strength meets its apex, that it gets to operate in its apogee, that it's at its pinnacle the weaker we are. So when I am weak, then I am strong. So that's why it should be more of God and less of me. See, God's got room to operate in your shortcomings, your proclivities, your inclinations. That the power of God, that it's not because of you. We are who we are. We live, move, and have our being because of God. He said, most gladly, therefore, Paul took pride. He took ownership of his shortcomings, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Child of God, I'm submitting to you that you're blessed because of your thorn. That thing that has kept you up at night, that thing that you cried tear after tear about, that thing that where you reached the pinnacle of success and here comes that old friend again. But that's the thing that lets you know that it's not about you. It's because of the power of God that has sustained you with this thorn day after day, month after month, week after week, and year after year. Therefore, Paul said, I take pleasure in infirmities. He said, for when I am weak, then I am strong. Child of God, it ain't all about you. It's all about him. The weaker you are in you, your success is dependent on how much room you leave for God to operate in your life. If there's any deficiency here, God's power is made perfect. It reaches its maturity in weakness. For when I'm weak, I'm strong. I'm submitting to you, child of God, that you have been blessed by your thorn. Stop, that thorn, the thing that you've been praying off. But that thorn may have sustained you. That thorn kept you from going over the edge. That thorn has kept you away from hell's gates. I'm submitting to you that you can be blessed by your thorn. I'm thinking of my thorn, and you may be a person with more than one thorn. And some of us have more than one thorn. But the thorn is the thing that keeps you balanced. It keeps you dependent on God. Scriptures declare, Isaiah says, if you be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. Many times, your thorn leads you to be much more willing and much more obedient to God. So I submit to you that you've been blessed by your thorn. Don't curse your thorn. Learn to live with your thorn, and you can truly be blessed by your thorn. God bless you.